Did is not real, Unalived the president of Iran. If you're not aware, the president of Iran was involved in a helicopter crash and he got unalived. Nobody knows exactly how it happened, but with everything going on, what would you say? Iranian's president Ibrahim Raisi, along with the country's foreign minister and others, were found unalived Monday morning, hours after their helicopter crashed in dense fog in a mountainous region of the country's northwest, state media reported. Raisi was 63. That statement alone suggests that it was a natural cause, because not only is it a mountainous area, but the area is also filled with a dense fog. But with everything happening, and when the US president advised the leader of Israel not to act back to Iran's attack on April 17th, they said that they would make their own decisions. I am not saying that we should be worried of anything, but our mission is to get the valid information out there, bring it together, and make sense out of it. And we're gonna do just that in today's video.
Multiple news sources have confirmed that Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi, whose helicopter crashed in Iran's East Azerbaijan province, is no longer alive. On board the aircraft was Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Aholian. I think that's it right. Initial reports shared that Iranian officials were able to make contact with some of the passengers aboard the helicopter and that a Turkish drone had located a heat source. He was elected president in 2021, and under the current timetable, presidential elections are due to take place in 2025. It is worthy of note that at least 2 cabinet ministers and 2 leading military commanders have died in similar crashes. So the president of Iran is important to the nation as a type of heir apparent, but he is not the leader of the country in the way that America's president serves as the leader of this country. In Iran, leadership is held by their supreme ruler, and since 1989, the Grand Ayatollah Khomeini actually rules the nation. Ali Hossein Khomeini actually rules the nation. As supreme leader, Khomeini is the most powerful political authority in the Islamic Republic. He is the head of the state of Iran, the commander-in-chief of his armed forces, and can issue decrees and make the final decisions on the main policies of the government in many areas like the economy, the environment, foreign policy, and national planning for the future of the nation. I know that you have questions about this crash, because I do too, and I'm sure that these questions will probably never get answered because this is Iran, but I'm still going to watch this closely and will keep you updated as updates are made available.
It has just been confirmed that Iran's president and Iran's foreign minister are the victims of a plane crash. Their plane had crash landed late Sunday night, and a Turkish drone suggested that the crash site was on the side of a mountain in northwest Iran. A status update on their survival was unknown for hours, but early Monday morning, rescuers were able to reach the crash site but were unable to find any signs of life. Right now, it's suggested that bad weather and heavy fog are the cause of the crash. Rescue teams are saying that the entire cabin of the helicopter is significantly damaged and burned. And here is some drone footage of the helicopter crash. Now, it's said that the president was likely traveling on a Bell 212 helicopter that began operating in the late 1960s. Since this helicopter was first produced in the United States, it may have been difficult for them to obtain spare parts due to the sanctions placed on Iran, which ultimately may have contributed to the crash. But the rescue team right now is chopping it up to the dense fog and extreme cold in the remote mountainous area. But as of right now, this story is continuing to be updated and an investigation is still underway.
I need somebody to make this make sense.
You're telling me that at a time when the world is at each other's throats, the president of Iran and the prime minister of Iran can be on a helicopter and go down in a fiery crash. This is world-changing news, guys, because if these men, and they're looking for these 2 guys right now to see if they survived this helicopter crash, if these men have been unalived in this fiery crash, they will have to vote in a new president and prime minister in Iran. And these 2 new people that will be in office will have to politic with the world on some major matters that could transform our world forever. Breaking news, guys. Our eyes are on Iran right now. I'm out.
Do you think they'll knock down the helicopter?
Let me ask my father.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did Israel smash down the helicopter of the president?
I have no idea, but I'll tell you what, the God of Israel did it. He'll do it to all our other enemies. As it says in Bereshit, in Lech Lecha, I will bless those that bless you, and those who curse you, I will curse. The God of Israel doesn't slumber and doesn't sleep.
Let's see your coffee. How do you have your coffee?
I have it with milk and I have a lot, and it's not the professional way, but that's the way I like it.
We'll forgive you. We'll forgive you this time.
Relative to yours, it's very weak.
The president of Iran is gone. He passed away in a helicopter today. In addition to the president, there was also a foreign minister on the helicopter and 7 other people. Now, this helicopter crash apparently happened due to bad weather. So now that we know that he's passed, what happens now? According to the Iranian constitution, if the president is to pass, the vice president will take over until an election is held. And that election is supposed to happen within 50 days. Right now, many countries in the Middle East expressed their support to Iran and also offered to help find the helicopter when they were searching for it. Also, many leaders from around the world are giving tributes and condolences to Iran for this loss. Now, the search to find the helicopter after the crash was actually pretty difficult due to things like cloud cover, fog, mist, and low temperatures. And all of that is believed to have actually contributed to the crash when it happened. Now, after this crash, a lot of people are very unsure about what's going to happen in the Middle East. I mean, you already know what's going on between 2 certain Middle Eastern countries right now, but I guess we will see what happens over the next few days. Just be sure to be paying attention to the news.
So the Iranian president got into a helicopter crash, and the US literally came out seconds later to say that they had nothing to do with it. There are 2 possible scenarios. One, the US is telling the truth and that this was just either engine failure or even sabotage from another nation. But 2, the one that I want to look at today, is that maybe US sabotage did happen, and why would it happen? We know that besides being incredibly pro-Palestine, Iran has begun to distance itself from the American dollar and from the oil trade, instead working with Russia and China in their new BRICS group of nations. Now, if you don't know, BRICS is a group of nations, like I said, from the East, like Russia and China. Vietnam just joined, some in like West Asia and the Middle East as well. And they're collectively coming together to move away from the US dollar so that America and all these Western nations begin to lose influence over them. Because as we all know, if we sanction people, then they're just screwed. So in turn, if they divest from the American dollar ceases to have any effect on them. And this has gotten America really pissed. Not to mention that they've begun to slowly change their nuclear policies to one of like, if you attack us or if you do anything, not to say that we have any, not to say that anything's happened, but don't try, because we will hurt you.
Major breaking news. It has been confirmed that the president of Iran has died. Actually, according to the official statement, there were no survivors at the crash site of his helicopter that crashed over 12 hours ago. The official word came from the Iranian state news agency that said, no survivors found at crash site of helicopter carrying the president and foreign minister. Here's just a little update from our last video. It turns out that Turkey had a drone in the area they were able to put in the sky that had some kind of technology to look for heat signatures. So they put that in the sky and they found one. Search and rescue went to that area where they found the helicopter had been completely destroyed. Before they even got to the site, the head of the Iranian Red Crescent said that the situation was not looking good. But this all opens up a lot of questions because earlier there were rumors that they had contact with people at that helicopter, at least 2 other people, and they had some kind of signal from the helicopter, but clearly that couldn't have been true if everyone had passed. When it comes to who will be president, usually when it comes to succession, it would be the vice president, but that has to be approved by their government. As soon as we get any new information, I'll be sure to let you know, so be sure to follow me for more.
Okay, breaking news. We finally have confirmation after about 10 hours plus of searching. Iran's president is, they found his helicopter. As it crashed, it engulfed into flames. There are no signs of life around it. This is just the drone shot. The rescue teams haven't been able to get there yet. But the only other news, apart from the fact that he has passed away, is that U.S. intelligence agencies are saying that no foul play was suspected. A few people in Congress and Senate from America are saying things like good riddance, etc. But that's all we know so far, so it has been confirmed. I'll make a full breakdown of how it happened, etc. In the coming few hours. So there you go.
Iran's President Ibrahim Raisi, along with the country's foreign minister and others, were found unalived Monday morning hours after their helicopter crashed in dense fog in mountainous region of the country's northwest. The crash comes at a hugely tumultuous time for the Middle East amid the Israel-Hamas war, during which Raisi and the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei launched an unprecedented drone and missile attack on Israel just last month. Under Raisi, Iran has enriched uranium closer than ever to weapons-grade levels, further escalating tension with the West, as Tehran also supplied Kaboom carrying drones to Russia for its war in Ukraine, and continued arming proxy groups in the Middle East, such as Yemen's Houthi rebels and Lebanon's Hezbollah. So this is recently published news suggesting that even though it's not clear what really happened, there are possibilities of a foul play. They are not directly saying that it is a foul play, but the possibility is there because of these reasons. Now let's take a look at the land of the free for a moment and why Iran is their number one enemy. So the United States stands as a global hegemony, holding significant authority and power over the world stage. One of the primary avenues through which the United States would influence in its economic prowess as the world's largest economy, the land of the free exerts considerable sway through trade, investment, and financial institutions through initiatives like foreign aid, trade agreements, and investment partnerships. The land of the free extends its economic influence to other nations, fostering dependency and alignment with American interests. Dependency is the key word. If you are dependent on them, you are a friend, and Iran under Raisi's leadership wasn't. So there is that. The other thing is military strength and security partnerships. America's military might is another cornerstone of its global influence, with the most formidable military apparatus in the world. The land of the free leverages its security and capabilities to forge alliances and deter adversaries. Military aid, joint exercises, and security partnerships serve not only to bolster the defenses of allied nations, but also to project American power and influence in strategically vital regions. Raisi was also in power through years of major protests against Iran's ruling Shiite Muslim theocracy, of which he was a key member over the country's ailing economy and women's rights. So under Raisi's leadership, there were positive things that were happening, including women empowerment, and the economy was also striving and getting boosted. Now the question is, does the land of the free have a problem with that? Well, in one of the things we've looked at dependency. The land of the free likes countries that are dependent with it. They're dependent on the dollar and their economy. So if Iran was moving away from that under Raisi's leadership, then we have a problem. It's an entitlement that comes with being palm-colored. And you gotta remember that the land of the free pretty much represents the whole of the West. And the whole of the West is pretty much ruled by the Vatican. And the Vatican is the most palm-colored place on earth. But that's a topic for another video. What I just want to point out is the Vatican represents Christianity. Iran pretty much presents Islam. Now, if you know what's happening on the global stage, then you know that there's tension between these two. Which one is the most supreme religion? So there's also that. And the West is represented by the United States. And since the United States is the representative of the West, it's in alliance with Israel. Therefore, it's not just a battle for oil and natural resources, but it's also a battle for power and influence. Now, since there are a lot of possibilities to look at this incident and they're not giving us the natural occurrences, if the land of the free had a hand in this, these would be the reasons for that. All of those factors make the moment more sensitive for Tehran and the future of the country, but Iranians were quickly reassured that life would go on as it has been by the country's real top power, Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Under the Islamic Republic's governing system, the president is not the ultimate decision maker, and all other government officials along with the military and all law enforcement agencies answer ultimately to Khamenei, who at 85 years old has ruled over the country since 1989. Under Iranian's constitution in place since 1979 Islamic Revolution that brought the ruling Islamic clerics to power, the vice president will assume Raisi's role until new elections are held within 50 days. But only candidates approved by the ruling clerics are eligible, so there is little chance of a major change in the course of Iran's politics and policies. Khamenei expressed his condolences for Raisi in a message conveyed by state media on Monday morning, in which he also announced a 5-day mourning period and confirmed that Vice President Mohamed Mokaba was stepping into the role until elections are held. Bodies recovered from helicopter crash site. State TV gave no immediate cause for the crash that occurred in Iran's East Azerbaijan province. The Iranian Red Crescent said that the bodies of all the victims were recovered from the crash site. Among the unalived was Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amirabdollahian, who was 60. The helicopter also carried the governor of the East Azerbaijan province, along with other officials and bodyguards. Iran's state Ran Aina news agency said, and that is to suggest that the unalived were found because earlier they had some challenges trying to retrieve them because of the dense place and the mountainous situation that the landscape is occupied with. Turkish authorities released drone video early Monday showing a heat signature at a site in the wilderness that they suspected to be wreckage of helicopter. The coordinates listed in the video put the fire some 12 miles south of the Azerbaijan-Iranian border on the side of a steep forested mountain. Iran's government flies a variety of helicopters, but international sanctions make it very difficult to obtain parts for many of them. Its military air fleet also largely dates back to before the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Iran is pretty much banned, or rather an enemy, to all the countries that created the helicopters that they use. And I guess the major country is the United States. And since they are holding it under sanction, they pretty much can't obtain spare parts from it. And if you have watched this video until the end, I just want you to see this as the most important thing throughout this video, because this shows that there is no revolution without technological development in one's country. And this is what the land of the free has done to many African countries. We are still slaves to them up to this day. Even if we have our own natural resources in our own countries, we can't refine them without the help of the land of the free, because every machinery we need is in their hands. And our schools and our curriculums do not provide the necessary education that we need to be able to learn how to refine our own resources. Similarly, Iran, like many other African countries, is dependent on the products and the machinery made by the land of the free. And now that they can't obtain spare parts from the land of the free because they are considered as an enemy, this may have resulted in the unaliving of one of their leaders, because nobody really knows the cause of this unaliving. It could have been natural, it could have been orchestrated, or it could have been because of the lack of these vital spare parts. But you leave your thoughts in the comment section and anything you feel was missing in today's video. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for staying with our channel. Goodbye for now.